Hello and welcome back to Bookish. Today I'm going to do my Victober Wrap Up to kind of go over my last week or so in my effort to read Victorian literature as a part of Victober and to share with you my accomplishments there and my thoughts. So I did finish reading Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson, and I really liked it. I don't know if it was just the simplicity of the story, the straightforward nature of the writing that seemed like a kind of a welcome break from, the excellent work of Anne Bronte and Elizabeth Gaskell that I read, or a break from the Dickens Bleak House that I've been listening to, or if it was just because it was about pirates and guns and shooting and adventure and treasure. But it really appealed to me, and I really liked it. If you haven't read it, and if you haven't read it because you think it's a children's story, I'd go ahead. It's pretty good. I think I'm going to go out and look for a copy of Kidnapped, which I've actually heard some booktubers say is actually better than Treasure Island. So I'm going to go out and look for that. My listening reading, my audiobook reading of Bleak House is going pretty well. I'm about 3.5 hours short of completing it. So I'm not going to complete Bleak House during Victober, but I should complete it by the end of next week. And I've really come to enjoy it. This is what happens with me and Dickens and audiobooks, is that in the beginning I feel like I'm just kind of trudging my way through a plot and hundreds of characters and a really complicated plot, and I get a little discouraged, and I think, my goodness, why am I doing this to myself? And I think about how long I have still to listen or to read, and I get discouraged. And usually when I get a little bit past halfway, Dickens really starts to work on me, and I start to think about the story when I'm not listening to it, and I start to appreciate the kind of genius Dickens has for creating these complicated plots and working all these characters together. And if he's a little overly descriptive, if there seem to be things he's doing in his works to pad them because they were published in serial form originally, oftentimes, well, I can forgive him because the stories are good. And I listened to David Copperfield, and I ended up really enjoying that, and I think in the end I'm going to end up enjoying Bleak House a lot more. So that's been good, and I've been enjoying that this last week, and I'm definitely going to finish that next month. In addition, I finished reading A Christmas Carol by Dickens, which was the book I read to compare to the movie adaptations. And I'm going to make a video about my reaction to the Dickens in print, the Christmas Carol in print, and the movie versions, and kind of talk about some of my favorite movie versions. I think I'll save that for probably the first week of December. But I enjoyed reading it. The story is one of my absolute favorite stories, and I can't imagine a better story of redemption ever existing. And there's some genius in that. So I enjoyed reading that too. I didn't read any more Thomas Hardy poetry. I was completely discouraged by my effort to find an entree into the writing of Thomas Hardy by finding poems that he wrote that I liked. I expected there to be, beautiful poems with beautiful lines and images, and I really was disappointed. So I think I've said that often enough, but I was not a fan of Hardy's poetry. And then I was supposed to also try to read Silas Marner in the last 4 or 5 days of Victober, and I completely failed. You can tell by the position of my bookmark that I think I read exactly 6 pages, and I just gave up. I decided to try to get as close as I could to finishing the audiobook of Bleak House and to finishing Christmas Carol, which I was enjoying a lot more than the first 6 pages of Silas Marner. Now granted, 6 pages of a book is not enough to know if you're going to really enjoy it, but it just didn't happen. This has kind of become a problem for me with my TBRs and my participation in things like Victober or the Pockathon that came up. Either I'm overly ambitious in terms of what I pick to read or how many books I pick to read, or I just kind of run out of steam at the end of the month. Anyway, Silas Marner will have to wait for another day and maybe another Victober, because I just didn't make it. I just didn't get there this year. So that's my Victober wrap up. I know this was kind of short, but mostly it was finishing books that had already had started and talked about last week. So tomorrow is the first day of November. It's Halloween here, and I keep expecting in another little while for trick-or-treaters to start coming by the house. But tomorrow is November, and I'm probably going to come out with a nonfiction November TBR tomorrow, and I may even throw in a novella or two, optimistically, for Novella November, and try to participate in two of those reading things this month. Anyway, thank you for watching. Let me know what you think, or let me know what you think of my failure to get to Silas Marner. I know there's some people who are looking forward, or said they were looking forward to seeing my reaction. I'm afraid that's just going to have to wait, but let me know what you think, and as always, thank you for watching.